Good morning. Welcome back, all you Regs and all you Shinies. Welcome to the most mediocre podcast in the Star Wars universe. I'm Tommy,
I'm Jacob,
and this is the 1313 podcast.
and today we are joined by General Skeevous.
Woohoo!
Hi, you guys.
Welcome
Um,
to the show.
thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it so much.
Of course,
Um,
it's our pleasure.
I am a content creator primarily on TikTok. I also have an Instagram page, and I've been an avid Star Wars fan since I was very young. I was born in '96, so I grew up initially with the original trilogy, but in 1999, when I was 3 years old, the prequels were released. Episode 1 was released. I've pretty much been a Star Wars fan for life, and I absolutely love everything about it and have been collecting for a majority of my life as well.
Awesome.
Sweet. I mean, I know a big part for our podcast is the collecting.
Yes.
We have every week we have segments. We have one called Jacob and his Legos, where Jacob talks about his Lego Star Wars collection and like Lego Star Wars news. And then we have our Black Series segment that we call the Wax Series because sometimes it makes us upset.
Yep.
I'm a massive fan of the Black Series. Some of the first bits of my collection were the Power of the Force figures that came out during the 90s when I was a kid. Those ones have like a lot of nostalgic meaning for me. So I have a very large collection of red cards and green card figures. But I also have a pretty substantial Black Series collection as well now.
That's awesome.
I also saw you collected Legos. You kind of like collect a lot of different like lines and things like that.
Yeah, my taste with Legos is if I see a set that just speaks to me, I grab it. So it's sort of all over the place. My Lego shelf is a disaster right now, but a lot of it for me is like seeing the figures in there. So if I see a Boba Fett figure in a Lego set, it's coming home with me right away.
That's kind of like I started that way. Like once I went to Walmart and I saw Anakin's like Jedi Interceptor, and I was like, "Oh, that's like my favorite ship. I'll just get that Lego set." And now I get them all. So
Yeah, a lot of my Legos I got more recently within the past couple of years. For a long time, I was just like, oh, Legos are, a bit expensive and stuff like that. And, I focused more on the Power of the Force and Black Series figures. But yeah, recently they came out with some really cool sets, especially the Maul and Ahsoka set from season 7 of the Clone Wars. So those got me really excited to start collecting more Lego.
Yeah, we're as far as the Black Series goes, that's kind of where I try to stick to. Although I do branch out sometimes, like that Lego gunship that came out.
Yeah.
That was one of those things where I was like, I didn't care how much it was. I had to just make sure I put some money aside leading up to it, and I had to get it.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things that I have in my collection now. But yeah, it's good for me personally to try to stick to like one line of toys rather than try to branch out too much. But it's super cool to look at collections like yours where it's like a kind of a conglomerate of all different things.
Yeah. For a long time my collection was very like mismatch. It's eclectic. Let's say that. It's all over the place. I have some pop figures, I have the Hot Wheels ships, I've got the Power of the Force, Black Series, Attack of the Clones figures. So it's just kind of a mismatch of everything that I've collected over the years because I was so young, and some of my figures are even from when I was very young, like as young as 3 or 4 years old, So it was whatever I was interested in back then and the stuff that interests me now.
Nice. I saw on one of your TikToks you had it was the one where you were using like that autumn filter on your collection. I saw
Oh,
that
yeah.
you had a lot of the Power of the Force figures, and it's like I know for me and Jackson, we pretty much have like all of the red box like series for the Black Series. Like we have a majority of them. We don't have all of them. Do you know like how close you are to getting all of the Power of the Force figures? Because it seems like you have a lot.
I have quite a bit, but to be honest, I don't have like I'm not really that close to having all of them.
Mhm.
For a while, I was like searching online, and I would buy them just in lots. So I would get like 30 figures at a time in just these big, boxes and stuff like that. But I started having difficulty finding I was getting a lot of doubles and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So, I really don't have it looks like I have a lot, but I don't have almost all of them. So,
Mhm.
it's always a growing collection. I'm always looking for more.
Okay. How did you feel about the Power of the Force series, like, line of Black series that started coming out?
I freaked out about them, and then I missed the pre-order, and I was
No!
myself for it because these are the Power of the Force figures are my favorite. Like those are my baby, and
Mhm.
I completely missed it, and I was so sad about it. But I was also kind of like, I was a little bit confused as to why they did another Greedo figure because they had just come
Mhm.
out with another Greedo figure. But I figure like maybe they had an excess of those figures, so they were like,
Mhm.
"Oh, let's put them in the Power of the Force packaging, and we can, get rid of some of these guys, maybe."
It's kinda like what they did with the, Jar Jar and then the episode 1 packaging, where they came
Yes,
out with him, and then, like, a
exactly.
month later, they came out with Jar Jar in a different box. It was like,
Yeah, I got that Jar Jar figure, the one that came out before they had the episode 1 figures. So I
Mhm.
never ended up getting the episode 1 Jar Jar because it's literally the same exact one.
Yeah.
And my other one came with like cool accessories and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Like got the little shield and everything. So
Mhm.
I know that Shop Disney I think they actually have the all of the Power of the Force figures available right now.
they do?
Yeah, the Greedo, Luke, and Han. So if you want to pick those up, I was on Shop Disney yesterday because I was trying to get some of those HasCon pre-orders, and I guess they never went up. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, I saw that they had all three of them there.
I will
So
do some I like to do this thing, it's called mid-podcast information. So, I'll take a look at a gander at the Shop Disney website, just check that for you real quick.
Oh, that would be amazing if you guys could find them because I was looking on like Entertainment Earth and Hasbro Pulse and there was nothing. They were like, "Oh, the pre-order sold out. You're, out of luck for right now."
yeah,
So,
I think you can just straight up buy them.
oh, really? Oh
So
my god, that would be amazing if I could do that.
yeah, so I mean, one thing that yeah, they're there, right? That's them.
Yeah, so Han Solo, Greedo, Luke Skywalker, they're all on here right now.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Yeah, so right after this, that is happening.
You did not miss it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, thank you guys so much.
No
No
problem.
problem.
So I'm really digging the wallpaper. Is that like a custom thing, or is that something you just found somewhere?
This is actually my mom gets credit for this. She found this on Amazon and it's actually only like 35 bucks a roll and it just sticks onto your wall.
I might have
So
to. I
I
might have to
recommend
get
this to
some of that.
everybody. People freak out about it on TikTok all the time and like
Mhm.
I need to just dedicate a whole video to this wallpaper because it is seriously so detailed. Like it's got like 501st written in here, like mixed in, and then
Oh,
we've got
seriously?
yeah, it has all sorts of ships. It's got the AT-AT and TIE fighters and X-Wings, everything you could ever want.
That's
That's
sweet.
awesome.
Yeah,
So
I love it.
so what's I guess another question that I have for you is
Mhm.
like what's it like being like a creator that puts a lot of energy into TikTok? Because prior to I think you're the first person that we've had on the show that's really been like focused on TikTok
Mhm.
content because everybody else has pretty much been YouTube or like Twitter, other things like that.
Mhm.
What's
Yeah.
that like? Because that's such a contemporary media platform right now, and it's so big. Like, how is that for
I
you?
would say that it's very exciting for me because it's all so new to me. I only started going on TikTok probably 7 months ago and to have like 6,000 followers, that's kind of a big deal to me, and it
Mhm.
all moved very fast and all of a sudden I have all these Star Wars friends and I can go on podcasts and talk to people
Mhm.
about this and prior to that honestly I was just some nerd sitting in my room collecting these figures, staring at them by myself and
Mhm.
being like, look, guys, this is so cool. And my sister's like, all right, nice. Like, you got more toys. What else is
Mhm.
new? So it's really nice to be able to meet people that have a common interest because I haven't really met anyone like that like prior, just like walking around in my city, and even in high school, I kind of like I like to say that I went to high school during like a Star Wars dry spell where it
Mhm.
was like in 2014 and not a whole lot of movies were being released and stuff like that. And I don't know. I mean, I feel like not as many people were as invested in it as they are now,
Mhm.
but with The Mandalorian, Bad Batch, the sequel trilogy coming out, like all of these people rushed to the TikTok platform and just started making all of these awesome videos, and I was like, I want in on it.
Mhm. What was your first video that you made that was kinda dedicated to Star Wars on your TikTok page? Do you remember?
So my first video was Star Wars related. I didn't start off on TikTok. I mean, I was on TikTok, but I was just kind of lurking on other people's pages and like watching their stuff. It was like a private account. I didn't post anything, and I didn't think I was ever going to post anything. But I started following Darth Chaco actually, and
Mhm.
I was like, I absolutely love this. I think this is awesome that he's making these 1 minute videos at the time of Star Wars content, just interesting facts and stuff like that. And I was like, I think I could do that. I have some cool stuff that I think people would like to see as well. So yeah, I think my first video I was wearing a Grogu mask and I was pretending to eat a macaroon. And it was a goofy, stupid video. It didn't get that many likes, but it just kind of like opened the door for me to, branch out, try other things. And I have like a whole list of ideas of different videos I can make now. So it's pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
That is
Yeah.
cool. I know for us too, it's been really, really fun. Like we have like a Discord for our podcast now. And
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
just first of all, it's weird to know that like we have that many people that like listen to us to the point where there are people that would want to talk to us,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
outside of listening to us. But like the friends that we've made through this experience, like whether it's like having guests on the show or it's like just people sending us a DM on Instagram or something like that. The conversations that we get to have with people, it's really, really fun for us because I'd say, I mean, it was probably what you, me, Jackson, and then one of our friends, Caleb in high school were really the only
Mhm.
like super Star Wars fans.
Like at our school, yeah.
Yeah. So like everyone else, like, kind of like you said, I mean, when we were in high school,
It was that the only thing we had was like
the sequel trilogy was
the
coming
sequel
out.
trilogy, and then we had like Battlefront 2. That was
Battlefront 2.
that was
Mhm.
our thing. We called ourselves the Battlefront 2 gang. That was our
Yeah.
kind of
That was our
tag.
group chat.
Mhm.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's so cool. Unfortunately, like in high school, I did have my nerd friends, but I didn't have my Star Wars friends. So this
Mhm.
is the first time in my life where I have a community of like Star Wars people just at my disposal that I can just talk to about stuff. And,
Mhm.
I could text somebody now and be like, hey, did you see the new George Lucas Stormtrooper action figure? Isn't that awesome? And they'll
Mhm.
know what I'm talking about?
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was nice because I never had like any like Star Wars friends like in general until I met Tommy. Like I had my
Mhm.
brother and I had my dad, but it was funny because I met him initially. I think it was from a singing group that we were a part of,
Yeah.
and I was just like, "Oh, this guy's really funny. I want to be his friend." And then I found out that his dad was in the 501st, and then I found out that he was a huge Star Wars nerd. And I was like,
Oh,
"Oh."
your dad's in the 501st? That's so
Mhm.
awesome.
Yeah, my dad was uh, one of the people who came up with the first like prototypes for like clone trooper costumes for the
No
501st.
way.
And he was on like the approval board for like the very first people that were coming up with clone trooper costumes.
That's an
Um,
amazing accomplishment. That's
Unfortunately,
really
he's not
cool.
as into it as he would like to be anymore because, he did have 4 children, including myself,
Mhm.
and, work is a lot more demanding for him.
Mhm.
But he is helping me make my costume for the 501st right now to get
Mhm.
approved. So right now I'm working on ARC Trooper Blitz from the Clone
Oh,
Wars. He showed
awesome.
up like maybe 2 seconds in an
Mhm.
episode on the Camino arc, but I thought he was cool.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I love that. I want to get into cosplaying a little more. I actually just bought two sort of cosplay pieces that I'm going to work into something eventually. But I got some Jedi robes and I have an X-wing suit and I got a
Ooh.
helmet
Sweet.
now. Yeah, I'm very excited about that. So I'm gonna be sort of getting into cosplaying, and I've always wanted to cosplay as Ahsoka Tano. So
Mhm,
that's definitely something I'm gonna be getting into motion soon. And there's actually a company, they're based in Boston called Wretched Hive Creations, and they make these Montrails, Ahsoka Montrails from, the earliest seasons of Clone Wars to season 7 to Rebels, and they look absolutely amazing. So yeah, I'm
mhm.
definitely very interested in that, although I haven't done it already. It does get kind of pricey.
It
And
does.
yeah, I get so worried about the risk of like, what if I mess up? And I know that's part of the process, but I'm like, I
Mhm,
don't want to spend like $100 and like totally mess up my
mhm,
cosplay. And, so yeah, I've purchased them. I
I
took
mean, if you like
both.
wanted like tips and stuff like that, we do have multiple people like that we could put you in contact with that could help you along the way. I know that's one thing that the 501st does too. Is if you want to make a costume, they give you kind of like an advisor
mhm,
that has a similar costume already done, and then they kind of guide you along the way.
Oh
mhm,
my god, that's so awesome. I didn't
Yeah,
even
it
know
really
that.
helps you.
Yeah, because I'm just messaging like these random Ahsoka cosplayer girls, and I'm like, I know you're probably busy, but do you think you could tell me how you did this portion of this? And but
mhm,
yeah, it would be so nice to like have a step by step somebody who's could help me along with the
Mhm.
process.
mhm. I Me and Jackson are working on Clone Troopers as well. This is the only one I have with me,
That
but
is
I
so
made
cool.
this was like my prototype, like kind of helmet because I want to do Captain Rex as my final.
Oh,
But right now, our 3D printer is broken again, so I have to fix that sometime.
yeah, it's so crazy seeing all of this stuff that people 3D print. There's a guy on TikTok called Tony Flicks, and he like
Mhm,
prints basically entire droids and like paints them and gets them all set up with lighting and stuff like that. And I just think that that's so amazing.
mhm. There's somebody, by my house, he lives right next to a high school, and all across his front porch, he just has, like, droids just sitting outside on his front
Wait,
porch.
really?
He has R2-D2, BB-8, Wally, IG-11 or IG-88, I can't tell which one it is because I don't know if it has the satchel on it, but, yeah, they're just on his front porch just chilling there. Oh, and then in his garden, he has the TARDIS, so it's like
Oh my god, that is like a nerd palace. That sounds
I know
amazing.
every time I pass it, I'm like, I wanna, like, put a letter in his mailbox, be like, "Mm, come on the podcast."
You're like, hey, want to be friends? you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
I mean,
closest
that's
thing
the
I
other
get
thing
to
too.
building a droid is at Galaxy's Edge. I built my little droid here, the sky.
Oh,
It's
sweet.
I kind of chose some Halloween colors for him because I don't know. I think black and orange are really cool together. So
Mhm,
Speaking of that, I was really interested to ask you about. I watched your whole like series you did on your TikTok page about Galaxy's Edge because actually, I've never been,
mhm.
and neither has Jacob or Jackson.
We were going to, but then COVID happened.
yeah, of course, yeah. It definitely was kind of bummer having to be like masked up and stuff like that, and like it's Disney, so no matter what, it's gonna get a little crowded and people are gonna kind of get in your space. So that was the only negative thing that I could say about it, that it was a little nerve-wracking being that close to people in close proximity for a long period of time. But you get sucked into seeing the Falcon and the ships, and of
Mhm,
course all the employees, they're dressed up as characters, like everything. Oh my god, there are so many minute details, and I was obsessed, and I can't wait to go back. I was just there a few weeks ago and I'm ready to go again.
mhm,
Yeah, just all the details. Even like, I know this is so weird that I was impressed at this, but in the bathrooms, they have it all weathered, and like you wash your hands in like these troughs instead of having a sink and stuff like that. And I was like, oh my god, this is like really cool. Like I feel like I'm in Star Wars right now, like I'm in the
mhm,
cantina, and I have my what did I get? I got a Zucchi wrap, and then
mhm,
pop over to the bathroom, and I'm like, I'm in Star Wars right now. Like I'm
mhm.
in the Star Wars.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I read the Black Spire book in preparation to go, but it
Mhm.
like our trip was planned, like, literally, like, right before the pandemic happened, and, like, we had our tickets and everything, we had, like, our they had our money. The travel company didn't give us all our money back because they're like,
Oh
"What
my god, I'm so
the
sorry
heck?"
to hear
Yeah.
that.
But they we were ready to go, and then it was like right at the beginning of the year when COVID just absolutely shut everything down. It was like
Mhm.
I think it was 2 weeks before our trip. It was like it sucked.
Ah,
But
that's heartbreaking.
I mean, I'm kind of glad it happened because if it weren't for that, then we wouldn't have like started collecting. Because we took the money that we saved up for Galaxy's Edge and we started buying stuff from Galaxy's Edge. It was like
Mhm.
online, like some of the lightsabers and stuff.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what started all this. So in a way, it's a good thing. In
Yeah.
a way, I'm still salty.
Prior to yeah, I totally understand that. I couldn't imagine, like, going on this trip. I was so nervous because my family and I never really go on vacations, like, especially far from home. Like, we'll go to visit family a state over or something like that, but going to Florida was, like, a very big deal, and, I was like, "We're spending all this money, I hope it's, like, worth it," because there were so many naysayers. There were people in my ear saying, "Oh, the lightsabers aren't good quality, it's so expensive, it's not worth it," and stuff like that, and after seeing it for myself, I can say, that was BS. I
Mhm,
loved the experience. I was happy with the quality of all the merchandise that I got, and
mhm,
I'm somebody who's been collecting since I was 3 years old, so, you know, I wouldn't listen to anything people have to say that's negative about it because the fact of the matter is if you're a Star Wars fan and you are entering Galaxy's Edge, it's just gonna blow your mind, and you're not
mhm,
gonna be thinking about critiquing it. You're just gonna be
mhm,
enjoying yourself.
mhm,
Yeah, and that is the theme of the Star Wars fandom is, they love to hate when things come out and new things. Everyone loves to give their inflammatory opinion about it, but in truth, I think, um, just the experience alone. I mean, I've never been
mhm,
there, but just the experience of building a lightsaber would be enough for me to
mhm.
feel like I got my money's worth. I mean, I just got the Force FX dark saber
Oh,
in the mail this week, and like
mhm.
even just that, like
Mhm.
it was. I just sit there and I just stare at it. It's
Yeah.
so awesome. Like, and I can only imagine building your own would be
Mhm.
so.
Yeah, it is so crazy. You get to choose your lightsaber color, the components of the hilt, you know, every single little thing. And it's a very theatrical experience. Like there was a person there guiding you through it. And like I was just sitting there thinking, like, this guy could be in a Star Wars movie. Like he's such an amazing actor and he's doing this in front of people multiple times a day. And it was so surreal being able to go through that experience and just like igniting it finally and holding it up and looking at what I made. Yeah, it was very exciting. I loved it.
Mhm.
Yeah, and everyone was just in such good spirits too because, it's like a kid in a candy store. You can't help but be grinning and freaking out and, you know, it was so awesome. And then I never do rides or anything like that, but I did end up getting on Smuggler's Run twice. We went on because it was
Mhm.
so fun. And then we went on Rise of Resistance and Star Tours as well.
Nice.
And yeah, let's just say people make a big deal out of Rise of Resistance for a reason because it is the best simulation ride, the best ride I've ever been on. It was just
Mhm.
so cool.
It's like there's all these, like, walkthroughs and, like, sit downs of, like, those rides online. I still
Mhm.
haven't watched any of them because I'm crossing my fingers that one day I will be able to experience it, and I want that to be my first time seeing it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
I still have
yeah,
no
you
clue.
don't want any spoilers for that. I mean,
Mhm,
I will admit I looked up some YouTube videos and I allowed myself to get spoilers just because I'm very nervous on rides and I was like, "Oh my
mhm,
god, if it's going to flip me upside down, I can't do it no
mhm,
matter how cool it is." But thankfully, there's nothing too crazy going on where you're getting like tossed around or anything like that. So,
mhm,
yeah. But that's all I'll say about it. I won't spoil it for you.
mhm. Yeah, it's because it's just I'm holding on to the hope that one day I'll be able to experience it.
I'm sure in the near future, like in the next couple years, that
Hopefully.
we'll go. I mean,
Mhm,
I sincerely hope that you guys get to go because I know that you would love it. It's a beautiful experience. It was seriously the happiest day of my life. Yeah,
mhm,
it was being immersed in my favorite fandom for a day,
mhm,
and I didn't want it to stop. We stayed there for 10 hours.
mhm.
Yeah, we showed up in the morning and we left when it was dark. And yeah, we showed up when the park opened and left at the end.
Are
But
you going to, try out the what is it? It's the Star Wars hotel that they're gonna open up in Disney when that, like, finally opens.
So the question is, will I ever have the credits to be able to afford to go to the hotel?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I need a lot of calamari flan for that, you know. It takes a lot. But yeah, I would love to do it if I could, but I think it's a little pricey and it's a
Mhm,
little bit unlikely, maybe far into the future. But yeah,
mhm,
I can see a trip to Galaxy's Edge definitely being in my future again. Not sure if the
mhm.
hotel thing would work out though. But
Well, I've heard if you pay with calamari flan, then you only have to pay half.
Yeah.
oh
That's
yeah,
what I've heard. So,
totally. That's perfect. Yeah.
Um,
so I don't want to. I mean, let's switch tracks a little bit here. Did you hear the news that dropped yesterday of the rumor about Hayden Christensen, and then the Rosario Dawson comment that was made, and then take it away?
Yes,
oh, I didn't
absolutely.
think about that.
I honestly like not to be a conspiracy theorist or anything like that, but I think somebody probably put her up to that. They were like, "Hey, give him a little taste, give him a little something to look forward to, something to get excited about." And she posted it, and then they told her like, "Hey, delete it, take it away," to
Mhm,
start this like big buzz about it. But yes, I heard that our boy Hayden is going to be coming back, and I'm
mhm,
very excited.
mhm.
Yes. I was
I'm
already flipping out over him being in the Kenobi series, and
Mhm.
yeah, I'm oh my god.
I know
I
for
I'm
me,
so beyond excited about that.
I know for me, it was like normally when there's like something comes from like not an official news source,
Mm,
I get my hopes up, but I disregard it. Like so
yeah,
initially I saw the announcement on like Hollywood Reporter or whatever, and I was like, oh, this is a rumor, like could be fake, whatever.
mhm.
And I was sitting there like, should I talk to Jacob and Jackson about it? Should I not? And then 10 minutes later, I open my phone again and there's the thing. It's like, oh, Rosario Dawson commented on it. And I was like, oh, that's all the information I need. Now I can
Mhm.
probably
Yeah.
consider it credible.
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah,
What did
I was
Rosario
so
Dawson say
excited about
about it?
that.
She said something about Sky Guy from Snips or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. She was like, "Oh, like I'll see you, Sky Guy. Love Snips or something." Yeah, but
Yeah.
That's awesome.
oh, so
I
excited.
personally think because it seems like more and more nowadays we get leaks for big films and movies
Mhm.
and things like that. I think they are done 100% intentionally because when a series puts out like a little teaser or like they straight up just drop the information, there's hype about
Mhm.
it. But I feel like people get way more excited if it's like it's leaked information because then it's like, "Ooh, I'm not supposed to know this."
Yeah.
So so I feel like because Marvel does that a lot. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
like with the stuff with like Mark Ruffalo like spoiling like parts of movies. Part of me thinks that he does that on accident. Part of me thinks that he's put up to it by Disney because it's like, dude, he's been in the film industry for how long? There's no way that you just make those mistakes.
Well, then again, there's
It could have
nothing
been
like
like it could have
Marvel.
started off as like a mistake, and then all of a sudden they were like, "I don't think this is a joke anymore. Like we're gonna do this."
Mhm. Like when Tom Holland did he got a letter, like something about the new Spider-Man script, and it was like there was something on it that said, "Do not read or do not share." And then he read it on like an Instagram live, and then like looked at the back and saw the thing that said, "Do not share." He's like, "Oh no!" And then ended it. I'm like, "There's no way that that just happened."
Yeah,
So,
that's yeah.
so it's like I feel like because Disney's smart, Disney is
Yeah,
really smart. So that's what makes me think that they do these things where they like give us tidbits of information, but it makes it feel like we're not supposed to know it.
yeah. I feel like if Disney really didn't want us to know something, they would literally send the Men in Black to our house and like
Well, no, because like
erasing our memories. They'd be like, "Nope, not yet."
'cause they've proven over and over again that they are fully capable of doing that. Because nobody saw Luke Skywalker coming in at the end of
No.
Mando season 2.
Mhm.
Nobody saw that coming. So it's like and if there was, like, as many leaks coming out about everything as, like, we think there was, then we would have heard about it.
Mhm.
So,
Definitely.
that's what I kinda think.
Yeah. And I feel like I don't know. I mean, they already announced Hayden for being in the Kenobi series, so
Mhm.
he was around. He was filming, so I think it makes sense that they would decide to leak that now, just to
Mhm.
get us excited about other series. But yeah, I would. Are you excited for Kenobi, Book of Boba Fett? Which one's the one you're most excited
All
for?
of it.
All of it.
The answer is
Yeah.
yes.
I
Yes,
mean, for
yes,
me,
all of it.
I think for me, it's like Kenobi is a little bit further off in the distance. So
Mhm.
like I feel like when the announcement happens, my hype is way up here. And then like as time goes on, it starts to dip a little bit. And then as I start to get trailers and announcements and stuff, it builds. Like my hype for the Book of Boba Fett though never went down. Like it has
Yes.
always just been at its peak ever since
Mhm.
the announcement for the show came. And I cannot wait. And it's coming up, but it's not coming up soon enough. It needs to
I
show
am
up
so
like
excited
tomorrow.
for Book of Boba Fett. Words cannot describe because Boba is my favorite character. And like I was saying this to my parents the other day. I'm like, I am so fortunate to be living in this exact point in time right now because Luke came back in The Mandalorian. Luke is one of my favorite Star Wars characters. And then
Mhm.
Boba also appeared in The Mandalorian too. And I was just like, these are my two favorite characters in the whole world, and they came back, and I feel like they did that for me. I was so happy to see
Mhm.
them both in The Mandalorian.
I kind of feel the same way because it was like in season 2 they in the same exact episode they brought back Ahsoka and then they name dropped Thrawn,
Yeah.
and it's like that's probably my favorite Star Wars memory of all time because we watched it at like 3 in the morning right when the episode came out because we're on the East
Mhm.
Coast. And I remember because my mom was still upstairs sleeping, I was watching with my dad and my brother. Like, she just goes, "Where's Grand Admiral Thrawn?" And I stood up and I was like screaming, but silently, so it wouldn't wake up anybody. I was just,
Yeah, we were all together watching it, so I was allowed to scream, and I did. I lost it, and I freaked out when I saw Luke. I was just like, "There's an X-wing. There's an X-wing. Who could? Oh my God! No, it's not. No, it's not." And I was like,
Mhm,
"They wouldn't do that." And I saw him. Oh,
mhm,
I can't even contain myself, even watching that scene to this day. And it was so reminiscent of the first time that I saw the Vader scene in Rogue
mhm,
One. And, I assumed that I was making the exact same face, just like, is this really happening right now?
mhm. That was such a crazy ending to Rogue One when Darth Vader just shows up. Everybody's like,
Like I thought on Mustafar when they showed him in that scene, I was like, "Oh, that's a cute little cameo to put in the movie." We'll probably never see him again. Did not see that end scene coming at all. And you hear the breath. It's darkness, the lightsaber. Like when they do a character intro, they know how to do it. Like
mhm,
Oh,
they know how to build up people's anticipation for a moment like that, and they just do it time and time again.
mhm.
yeah. Mhm.
They did the same exact thing with Jedi Fallen Order. It's just like it's just darkness, and you just hear it, and you're like,
Exactly. Yeah. And I love it. And I've heard people complain about this too, talking about like, oh, there's too much character baiting. And I'm like, that's Star Wars though. Like people disappear and you're like, oh, I wonder what happened to Hondo. And then he shows up in the randomest places.
Mhm,
So I really love it. I love it when characters return and, you
mhm,
think somebody's dead and they come back. Um, you know, uh I was very excited about Palpatine's return. A lot of people weren't. They were like,
mhm,
"Oh, why can't anybody just die?" And I'm like, "But not Papa Palps. He needs
mhm.
to stay here. He needs to stay." Well, he's
I
done.
rem
Are
But
you gonna bring up the trailer?
Yeah, I remember we were in school, like, watching Star Wars Celebration on our phone, like, together, like, at, like, our lunch break.
I was in class
Oh,
actually.
you he was I was
Yeah.
watching it with Caleb then.
Uh-huh.
So I was watching it with Caleb, and we watched the trailer, and, like, the second you just hear the at the end, like, we freaked out, and then we sprinted to his classroom, and we just did not care the fact that he was still in class. We're like, "Tommy, Tommy, check this out. Tommy, check this
I
out."
was like in my senior year, like AP like English class, and it was like one of the hardest classes of my high school career. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I was also watching the trailer without my teacher knowing. And when Ian McDermott came out and said, "Roll it again," I was like, and my teacher was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine." And then in dash Jacob and Caleb, and they're like, Tom, did you see? Did you see?" I'm like, "Yes, I saw. Yes, I
oh
saw."
my
And
god,
his
that's
teachers
that's a beautiful moment. Yeah, I was actually I think I was scrolling through Instagram, like I didn't even know, and I'm just like, oh, is this a legitimate trailer or is this a teaser? So I'm like watching it, not knowing if it's real or not the entire time. And then I just hear that cackle at the end, and I was like, oh my God, I have to find my parents. And I like run downstairs and find my parents. I'm like, watch this now. And they were like,
Mhm,
what? What is it? What is it? And then by the end, they were freaking out as much as I was. Yeah.
mhm,
So it seems like your parents are pretty big Star Wars fans.
They are, yeah. I can credit them with getting me into Star Wars. Like I said, I was sort of born into it, and my parents were born in '75, so 1977. They grew up with Star Wars too, and yeah, they weren't big collectors or anything like that. They didn't cosplay anything like that. They were just very big fans of the movies, and
mhm,
yeah, I was kind of like, oh, we like this, and I took it and ran with it and
mhm,
made it my obsession. I made it my entire personality.
mhm,
That's kinda how we are too. I mean, my for me, it was my dad.
Mhm,
He was always into Star Wars, and I remember when he and my mom first met, he at his apartment had, like, a Star Wars museum in his apartment, and it got, like, a newspaper article in our local paper and everything. Um, but, yeah, he was always collecting, and he was just super into the movies, so he definitely raised me into Star Wars, and I'm
mhm,
so appreciative of it all the time.
yeah, and I love it so much because I truly believe that there's something Star Wars for everyone. I mean, it is very inclusive. There's something for kids, there's something for older people, and I just love it so much. And a lot of people, don't like the sequel trilogy, or they try to make it seem like a lot of people don't like the sequel trilogy. And I remember being a younger fan in high school, and the only Star Wars fans that I could really talk to were like my teachers who were in their 30s. So I would
mhm,
talk about Star Wars with them, and they would kind of talk crap about the prequels and say, oh, Jar Jar Binks is ridiculous. And I feel like I had to suppress my love for the prequels for a long time because I was talking to these fans that were older and more experienced than I was. But, now I own it. I was 3 years old when episode one came out, and I loved Jar Jar Binks. I thought he was hilarious,
mhm,
So that's my childhood. I mean, but people will complain wherever they can. I mean, people complained about Ewoks taking down the Empire. They're like, oh, there's teddy bears with spears in Star Wars. That's ridiculous. I don't like that. So
mhm,
I
whatever.
think that's the thing is like Star Wars is generational in a way, and so there's going to
Mhm.
be things that people complain about of all different ages. Um, I know that we on the podcast are very partial to the new movies,
mhm,
and especially myself, I would say out of the three
mhm,
of us. Um, I just for me, I think it's like the overarching messages of the movies
Mhm.
that I really gravitate to rather than like the nitty gritty of like the lore and like do things line up and all that
Mhm.
kind of stuff. And like I am super into it like that as well. But I think for me, like the most important part of Star Wars to me is like the overarching messages and like the themes of like found family and like
Mhm.
creating your own destiny and you're not uh who people say you are and things like that. Uh just like all the different cultures that Star Wars pulls from so consistently. I think that
mhm,
it's super profound and it makes it really different from other franchises.
Yeah, it definitely does, and it is something that lasts. I mean, I don't think there's anything in the media that has run this long other than The Simpsons, honestly, and something that's so timeless and so recognizable. I mean, you could go to pretty much any country in the world and show somebody a stormtrooper helmet or Darth Vader's helmet, and they're
Mhm,
going to know exactly who it is.
mhm,
And you can't say that for other franchises, no matter how popular they are, because a lot of them aren't quite as diverse and don't draw from so many sources like Star Wars does. And
mhm,
that's what I really love about it. I mean, like I said, there's something for every generation in Star Wars, and you know, um, so Luke Skywalker might be somebody's favorite character. Ray Skywalker might be another's favorite character, but
mhm,
I just I like to focus on my TikTok more on the things that I do enjoy, and like I do try to encourage people to think, why don't you like a character if you find them irritating or annoying and stuff like that, because I actually made a video on it. There was a video that I spoke about intentional ignorance of characters in Star Wars. And I think that that's very important to take into account that in order to show growth of characters like Anakin, Ezra, Luke, you have to start off with a very immature character that doesn't quite get it, and then eventually you can add certain elements in, they can learn as they go, and you get to watch them grow as a character and become these cool people.
Like that's like exactly what they did like with Ahsoka in season 1 and 2. They made her like really annoying, and then they're like, I hate her, I hate her, and then they're like, no, just give it some time, it gets better, and then it got
Yeah,
better.
exactly. And like it absolutely kills me to say this, but my first introduction to the Clone Wars was watching a piece of the Clone Wars movie where Ahsoka was like holding Rada the Hutt and she was like calling him stinky. And I was just like, oh, I'll give Clone Wars a try. And I like turned on Cartoon Network and saw that one portion. And I was like, I don't think this is for me. I don't like it. And for years, I did not end up watching it. And then
Oh,
eventually, when I got to college, I was like, I'll give Clone Wars another try. And I had no idea that I was watching the movie. I thought I was watching a portion of the show. Like things in Rebels, like Rebel spoilers, got all mixed in there for me. So I didn't really know about any of the animated Star Wars shows until I was in my 20s. And then I sat down and watched Clone Wars, and it is my favorite. That is my favorite show. So I feel so sad that I didn't give it another go sooner. But I kind of went through the same experience when I went to try Rebels. I started watching season 1 and I was like, I think this is maybe more geared towards children. Like I'm not seeing like a whole lot of big lightsaber fights, but I realized after that that's not what it's all about. It was about Ezra finding his family and finding his place in this universe, and finding a place where he belongs when he was just a little street rat walking around and getting pinned by the Empire and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I mean, I think too, it's an interesting dynamic because we talk about characters being immature.
Mhm.
Um, I think the Bad Batch kind of takes an interesting spin on that because you have the Bad Batch and then you have Omega. And so they're different physically from one another, but really they're around the same age.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And so mentally, in a lot of ways, the clones are like teenagers.
Mhm.
They're really struggling to understand things that they're unfamiliar with. And so some of the times in the show, you see Omega be the teacher. And I think
Mhm.
that that's kind of something that Star Wars teaches us as well, is like how we can learn from children the same way children learn from us as adults. I
Yeah.
think that it's a really interesting message where we can kind of pull from one another rather than just kind of overlook people just because they're younger. And I think that that's a really important message that the Bad Batch kind of pushes through to people.
Mhm. Yeah, and even Master Yoda says, truly beautiful the mind of a child is, because
Mhm.
they do have a different perspective than others, and because Omega wasn't raised as a soldier, she can bring sort of a fresh set of eyes to some of these situations and really be a helpful asset to them when normally you would say, oh, she's a little girl, she can't muscle her way through this, so what could she possibly bring to the table? But obviously she's helped them quite a bit out of some pretty hairy situations.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I think Omega is definitely one of my favorite parts of the Bad Batch. I know going into
Mhm.
the Bad Batch, I was kind of weary of her, not because of her specifically, but I was kind of over the adult child character trope that Star Wars was putting out with like
Mhm.
the Clone Wars, the Mandalorian. Every movie that was coming out had some sort of like father daughter or father son or mother daughter mother son relationship. I was kind of over that, and then uh, I just I just love Omega's character
Mhm.
so much. Like I'm sitting here waiting on that Omega action figure
Oh my
because it's
god, yes!
probably
I
gonna
was
get two.
out with the Havoc Marauder Lego set. They don't have Omega. They literally have
Oh.
Gonki, but they don't have Omega. And I was like, come
Mhm.
on, guys. Like, what's going on here? And then, of
Mhm.
course, they didn't come out with an Omega Black series either. And I was like, what gives? Come on. But maybe
Mhm.
they're doing that to build up some anticipation and get us really excited for it. And then they'll just push it out and be like, here, we got
Maybe
this for you.
maybe they'll push it out for season 2.
Mhm.
Maybe, hopefully.
Possibly.
If
Hopefully.
I if
Yeah,
I
but I
don't get
need
it
my
back on
Omega.
If I don't get an Echo, I'll be very upset.
Yeah, but I was definitely skeptical when they first introduced Omega just because of the can of worms that I thought it was going to open, and I was
Mhm.
like, I don't know how they're going to make this work. Like another unaltered clone that isn't Boba Fett, and she was there the whole time, but we didn't know about her. But yeah, Omega is definitely one of my favorite characters in the Bad Batch, and it's crazy how you know in such a short period of time we were introduced to these characters and they just become part of the franchise and they're like Wrecker is as big a deal as a character as General Grievous is for me, like I love them both and they just all meld so well into this
Mhm,
universe that um Filoni and George and everybody has contributed to, and I love it.
mhm.
It's super, super fun. I do have some questions that Jackson sent to me in his absence because Jackson actually he was the one that found your page first and sent it to us.
Mhm.
So
Oh,
he was pretty bummed out that he couldn't be here this weekend to record this. But he did have some questions that he wanted me to make sure that I asked you. And I don't think we went over any of them. Well, we did go over the TikTok one.
In the Black Series
Kind of, yeah. But we do have Jackson wanted to know what your favorite Star Wars property was, whether it's like a TV show or a movie or a book or anything. What's your favorite piece of Star Wars media?
so my absolute favorite is The Empire Strikes Back. And I feel like that's a common trend. I feel like a lot of fans really are drawn to that movie. But yeah, that was the one that when I was a little girl, I would just, it was back in the days of VHS tapes. So I would take that VHS tape, have my mom rewind it and watch it over and over again on a loop basically all day. But yeah, I really loved the Hoth scenes. Like, I don't know
one.
why those just really stuck out to me when I was a kid. And even the gross scene with like Luke getting shoved inside of a tauntaun, I was just like watching it as a little girl, like, this is the best thing ever. But
Mhm.
yeah, if somebody says Star Wars to me, it conjures images from Empire Strikes Back. That is the most Star Wars stuff that you can get, in my opinion.
That's awesome. Yeah, for me, I think it's probably like the Clone Wars.
Mhm.
Whether it's the 2003 Clone Wars series, because I was super, super into that show. And then also, obviously, the 2008 series.
Yeah.
Um, Everyone knows about that one. But I feel like the 2003 series is what really like pulled me into Star Wars just because it was like a cartoon. It was very stylized. I was a big fan of Samurai Jack when I was very, very small.
Yeah.
So I really liked that it was kind of that same art style.
Mhm.
And that was, that was the introduction of General Grievous. We had never seen his character before that. So
And Ventress as well. We get to see her ahead
mhm,
of time in the Clone Wars series, the early
Mhm.
one. Yeah, I remember. I'm pretty sure it was on Cartoon Network too.
yep.
I would just
Mhm.
be watching like Billy and Mandy or something, and then these little Star Wars clips would come up, and I was just like, "This is so amazing!" And I remember watching one specific one because I forgot a lot of the episodes, and then I rewatched them when they released them on Disney Plus. But I remember one specific episode where Mace Windu like crushes General Grievous's chest,
Mhm.
and that's
Mhm.
basically how he develops that constant cough. And that's actually sort of like how I got my username because I would be like, "Oh, he's always coughing. He's so skeevy. He's General Skeevous," So
Mhm.
yeah, I just sort of made that my username.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. That's we always I do wonder about some people's like usernames and stuff. And that was a good story because most of the time we don't ask that question.
Mhm.
Um I mean, as far as 1313 goes, I think it was just kind of something all three of us came up with.
Yeah, because
Mhm.
there was that 1313 game that was supposed to come out, like, just before Disney bought Star Wars. It was supposed to
And
be a
then they
basketball
canceled
game.
it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they absolutely scrapped it, and then we were like, "Well, what's something we could call ourselves that would be cool for people that are, like, in the know, but it's, like, not
Mhm.
it's not just Star Wars podcast." And we were like,
Mhm.
13,
It's
that's, like,
catchy
cool.
too, people remember because it's a number. It's not
Yeah.
like, oh, here's like the supercalifragilisticexpialidocious Star Wars podcast.
Yeah, it's catchy, and I caught on to that right away. I was like, 1313, that's definitely that Boba Fett game that got canceled, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
I remember seeing they released, like, a trailer for it, Didn't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, I remember seeing the trailer for it and being like all hyped up about it and, saying like, "Oh, this is gonna be really cool." And then nothing ever came of it. And I found out years later that it got canceled.
Mhm.
Do you play a lot of games?
I do not. I have very poor hand-eye coordination, so I'm
Okay.
not a huge video game player. However, I am very big on watching other people play on Twitch, and also I'll just watch gameplays on YouTube for days. So
Mhm.
I can definitely pick up what's been put down if somebody's talking about Force Unleashed or anything like that. I've been wanting to get into Knights of the Old Republic and stuff like that because
Mhm.
you can play those on PC, right? You can play that game on
Mhm.
PC. Yeah,
You play it
so
on your
I
phone.
don't really have any game systems or anything except for my Atari. So yeah, having something that I'd be able to play on the computer would be ideal to start off with. But
Mhm.
yeah, I think I played Star Wars Battlefront 2 a few times at other people's houses, but yeah, I'm not amazing
Mhm.
with video games. But I do like to just watch it like a movie, basically.
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah, we have a lot of fun. That was definitely something that helped pull us together as our group of friends in high school
Mhm.
was Battlefront 2. That
Every
was
single night.
every single night. "Oh, you have homework? You have a test tomorrow? Oh, don't worry about that, man. Just hop on Battlefront for a couple hours with everyone else and
Till like 1 in the
till
morning.
1 in the morning. Screw your test."
Yeah, it definitely does draw you in.
I mean, we were on a rowing team in high school too.
Mhm.
So we would have to wake up for practice before school started because that's when the water was the calmest. So we would have practice at like 5:30 in the morning, and we would have been up the night before till like almost 2
Oh
playing
my
video games. And then it's
Mhm.
like, oh, look, all the kids are sleeping in class again.
oh my goodness.
Good times.
It was good times, yeah.
Yeah.
But so I mean, did you have anything else that you wanted to ask us, or did you have anything else that we wanted to go over with you?
I was very interested in your collection and how many Black Series figures you guys have and how you got into the Black Series because I got my first Black Series like when they first came out and it was a Ray figure. And I don't
Mhm.
know if you remember, but they did not look great. And
Nope.
then I recently just got like a dark side Ray figure and I was
Mhm.
literally holding them side by side. Like these figures have come a long way in a short amount
Mhm.
of time.
Mhm.
I'll let you go first. Yeah.
I guess for us, our collection, it started when COVID hit and we canceled our trip to Disney. We started initially getting the legacy sabers, but then we have a rack. It's like at the top of our set where it's like all the sabers, and then we were just like, oh, we have like this big shelf space. Where we were like, let's just get like one or two that like we really like, and
Mhm.
then one or two turned into like five, turned into 10, and then we're just like, oh, these ones are only like $5. Might as well just get them because like we were just picking up all like the ones that nobody wanted just because why not? And then it kind of just went from there. It's like a big thing between my brother, my dad, and I, and yeah, it's spread like wildfire. It really did.
I
Yeah.
think for me, it was I was super into Funko Pops
Mhm.
first, and so I had just this addiction to Star Wars Funko Pops, and I was always looking for or buying them. And
Mhm.
so I had accumulated like 150 of them, and then I bought my first Black Series figure right before COVID. I bought the Captain Rex figure on Amazon, and I got it, and I thought it was the coolest thing. And then I just started picking up. Oh,
Mhm.
Rise of Skywalker's coming out. I'll get the Sith Trooper. Oh, like
Mhm.
Jedi Fallen Order came out. Let me get these ones. And it just kind of grew from there. I kind of started offloading my Funko Pops, and the Black Series took over. And
Mhm.
it's just been a lot of fun. And now I'm at a point where like I can keep up with it. There's like a community to it. So I talk to other collectors and like other YouTube channels that surround themselves around it. And it's just I think for me, the collecting is one part of it, like, for my own like personal happiness. And then like I think more so it's the community around it that
Mhm.
keeps me in it. And just the people that I get to meet make it a lot of fun.
Mhm.
So
It's a running joke between me and Jackson that Tommy copied us because he was doing Funkos, and then we started doing the Black Series, and then he started doing it. So if you
Oh,
said
I
something,
think we're back. Okay.
okay,
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 I
okay,
was gonna
okay.
say if you
I
said
was I was
something,
like, oh,
I did not hear it. I was like, uh
My laptop's got a bad motivator or something.
oh.
Yeah, but that's so awesome that you started collecting them recently. Yeah, the Black series that I have, those are also the newest. That's like the newest chunk of my collection.
Mhm.
Because like I said, I started off with the Power of the Force, and then got like some of the Attack the Clones and the Hot Wheels and stuff like that. But yeah, I really do like enjoy the Black series. Do you guys keep yours boxed or you unbox them?
That
Unbox,
depends.
unbox
That
every
depends
day.
for me. For some,
Yeah.
we like our gaming greats. We keep all our gaming greats in the box just because it's just kind of they're cool that way.
Hmm.
Um, we have most of our red and black series box like in the box, but that's because they're hanging on our wall. We usually just
Hmm.
unbox like Mando, Troopers, like prequel era, and Bad Batch. That's like
Yeah.
what we put on our shelf, just because we don't have enough shelf space for absolutely everything. So it's like
Hmm.
we start tacking everything up on the wall.
Yeah, I have a portion of my collection that's boxed and a portion that's unboxed. I think eventually everybody's gonna get taken out of their boxes, but I
Mhm.
do enjoy the art on the boxes so much too, like for a lot of the newer figures. And yeah, I would like to somehow figure out to a way to display them with the boxes behind them or something like
Mhm.
that.
It's like, for some figures, it's like I just have to get 2, 1 to keep in the box, 1 to take out of the box because it's like it's too cool to keep in the box, but it's like the box is so cool, you kinda don't wanna get rid of it. So
I'm I'm glad I'm not the only one who does that. I'm
Mhm,
sitting here like I'm wanting to get another Rebels Ahsoka because I have a
mhm,
Chopper figure that's
mhm,
boxed and I don't quite want to take him out. So I'm
mhm,
like, well, I need to have Rebels Ahsoka with him, but then I also need Hera and stuff
mhm.
like that. So yeah,
It's a lot of fun to play the game of what do I get, what do I
yeah.
not get, and
Yeah, and nothing is more thrilling than when you can actually walk into a store and buy Black Series figures. I
Mhm,
don't know how it is in your area, but there are so many scalpers here in Boston, and
terrible.
they just
Mhm,
buy up all of the figures. You can't find anything in store. I have to basically pre-order most things, but every
mhm,
once in a while, there's a little nugget of hope for me, and I walk into the store and boom, there's a big
mhm.
deal figure for me, you know?
Like, we don't scout, but we hunt. Like,
Mhm.
we use Brickseek, and we'll, like, go to, like, Walmart's, like, the second they get the shipment in, and we'll be checking every day. I
Yeah.
remember, like, the most recent memory I have is I went to Walmart when I was, like, really, really sick, like, 2 weeks ago. So I went to Walmart just to get a Lego set, so I had something to do while I was at home,
Mhm.
and, just walked to the Star Wars aisle just to check, and I found the entire, like, new wave of TVC with, like, Echo and Maul and Ahsoka, and I was like, I don't even collect TVC, but, like, Ahsoka and Maul are, like, my 2 of my, like, favorite characters, so I was
Yeah.
like, "I gotta get them."
yeah, it's a lot of fun to find. Like Jackson and I were just out earlier this week. Um, all three of us work at the same job, so Jackson and I worked together, and then we decided to go just check out a couple stores. And Jackson found Aura Singh, and he's so funny because like he's pretty like when we're in public, he's pretty reserved, but like when we're like on the podcast, he's very like out there and he's high
Mhm.
energy. So he's like being super quiet, and he walks up to the shelf and just screams. He was like, "Yeah, bro, I don't know if oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh." And I'm just sitting there like, because the employees all look over like something just broke or something.
Mhm.
He's freaking out. But it's cool to see how much excitement it can elicit from
Yeah,
people.
it is so difficult to contain myself in public when I see a figure. I
Yeah.
actually got I freaked out when I found that Dark Side Ray figure because I was just like walking through a Walgreens, like I went in there
Mhm.
to go get crackers or something, and I was like, I'll check their toy section, see if they got any Black Series. And there she was just sitting there, and like for months there had only been like Grief Karga figures, and I already
Mhm.
have Grief Karga, so I was like bumming every time I went in there, and I really wasn't expecting to find anything, but to just see Ray sitting right there, I was like, yes,
Mhm.
score.
I think probably my best, like, in-store, like, experience was, I went to Walmart on a whim looking
Mm,
for, like, the 332nd Trooper and Ahsoka and, like, the Mandalorian, and I was
Mhm.
like, It's the middle of the day, they're not gonna have it." I turn the corner, and it's just, like, in the middle of the aisle. They have, like, the setup with like all the boxes, and I see it, I just go, and it was like 50 yards away, and I just sprinted it like as fast as I could, and like because there was a guy next to me that looked like he also was interested in it, but he was going for
Yeah.
hot wheels. I just didn't care. I grabbed everything off it and called everybody I knew. I was like, I found him. I found him. Do you need one? I have him here. Because like everybody was getting their orders canceled and stuff because Walmart sucks.
Yeah. That happened to me with the tech figure. So the only Bad
Oh
Batch figure that
no.
I don't have is tech.
Mhm.
And yeah, we did the pre-order through Target, and then it was like months in, and they were like, "Oh, we canceled your pre-order, by the way." I was like, "You jerks! Like, I'm not gonna be able to. Like, I'm gonna struggle finding them now." But yeah, I've been on the lookout for a tech figure now, and people are charging like $250 for them. Some places, I'm like,
Mm.
"You guys are ridiculous."
We'll keep our eyes peeled. If we happen to come across one, we'll be sure to let you know.
Definitely. Thank you guys so much for your advice on finding figures. And like I said, I got to go find those Power of the Force Black series because those.
I already texted you the there's the link in our Instagram DM to the Shop
Oh,
Disney
perfect.
website with them. So
Okay. Thank you so much.
no problem.
Yeah, we I think it's hard. You were talking about concealing your excitement. I think that I when the Target exclusive wave with like the Clone Wars Black Series figures happened over the summer, I think I went to Target because you guys were on vacation. That's what it was. So not only did I have to find a full set for myself, I had to find at least one full set for these guys too. So I went for 4 days in a row. I would go like an hour before my local Target opened, and I would sit in the parking lot, and then I would go, and I worked every day too. So over the summer, so like I would have to get up at like 5 in the morning, eat breakfast, drive to Target, and then walk as normally as I could while going as fast as I could,
Yeah,
beelining
you
for
do that little brisk walk, and you're like,
yeah,
"Oh,
yeah.
nobody knows what I'm up to."
And then I would go and I would just pull up like the barcode and have an employee scan it. And they'd be like, one day they were like, oh yeah, we have like Echo, Obi-Wan, and Anakin. And I was like, you're kidding. And so I was able to get all three of them for myself, and I was able to get an Obi-Wan and an Echo for these guys too. And I just remember like sitting there and like there was another collector with me and he was able to get one of each too. And both of us are just sitting there, and after the dude left, we were like jumping up and down like woohoo, woohoo. And then a random customer walked by and both of us just stopped and just started talking in really low voices to each other.
You're like,
So funny.
yeah, actually, I think these molds are getting a lot better. you know,
Yeah,
yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
I freaked out over those Clone Wars figures as well.
Mm.
It took me a long time to collect one of them. I mean, collect all of them, but I think the first one I got was Hawk, and then I got Obi-Wan, and then I was searching around for Anakin forever. Eventually found him. My mom actually found him in store and came home with him. And
Ooh.
then Echo was the last one that I needed, and I could not find him anywhere. And I was like, darn, all the scalpers got them. There's no way I'm gonna get them now. And my buddy actually works at Target, and he was like, called me up on the phone. He's like, "Hey, Kaylee, I set aside an Echo figure for you." And I was like, "Please keep it there, keep it there. I'm coming right now. I'm coming right now." So I'm on the way to Target to go pick it up, and my mom says, "Guess what I just found for you? I got an Echo figure at the house right now." So I'm like, "Oh my god!" But I bought the extra Echo figure, and I was like, rather than have it fall into the hands of somebody who's a scalper and is going to be a jerk, and since I already have one, I decided to do a giveaway with it on TikTok. So
That's awesome.
yeah, that was my very first giveaway. I did an Echo figure, and I got to give it to a young fan who didn't have like a whole lot in his collection. So I was so happy to be able to do that.
That's super cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, we did a giveaway when we hit 100 subscribers on YouTube, and that was like a super big deal for us. We gave away, I think we did the Anakin and the Obi-Wan, right? And it was just like seeing, and the winner was also like a younger kid, and
Mhm.
so just like seeing his excitement to get the figures was just like that was so special for us.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I actually like pretty much every time I do a giveaway too, I'll stop at Five Below, and they have these Clone Wars t-shirts with all of the helmets on them. Like,
We have those.
Yeah, I have 3 of them because I'm psychotic and I'm like, I'm worried that they're gonna stop releasing them. And I'm like, these are literally my favorite shirts, like I love
Mhm.
them so much. So I have a few of the Clone Wars ones, but like pretty much every time I do a giveaway, I stop at Five Below and get them one of the Clone Wars t-shirts in their size and like send it.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think that
I think that about wraps up.
about wraps it up.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. I think I'm not entirely sure how to.
I got it.
is
Let me do it.
Wait, I'm gonna figure it out. I'm a big boy. I can figure this
Thank
out.
you guys for having me on. I appreciate it.
No problem. I'm going to try to throw up
Chrome
your
Chrome tab.
Chrome tab. Okay, I'm gonna try to throw up your TikTok
There it
real
is.
quick, just so
Okay.
everybody at home can see. Okay, this is it. Check her out on TikTok. Makes a lot of Star Wars related content, as you
you.
can see. Booster, she's probably gonna be. We're gonna put her in the description below, so you can find her there. Follow her on TikTok and probably her Instagram as well. I think that's all from us.
And yeah, this has been the most mediocre podcast in the Star Wars universe. I'm Tommy.
I'm Jacob.
And thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you all next week.
Bye.